What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 398 of the Hoots Podcast. It's Thursday, February 1st, 2024. It's yours truly, the nefarious brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez, coming to you live from the Break Free Room here in Chicago, Illinois. Another busy week of work and life and everything in between, but I hope you guys are doing well. Yes, indeed, we're 2 episodes away from episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast. I want to say, first and foremost, thanks to each and every single one of you who check out the podcast each and every single week. If you are a first-time watcher or listener, thank you for giving us a chance. This is your back porch style professional wrestling podcast, but also a live podcast. And we talk about a lot of stuff that maybe you won't hear on other shows and stuff like that. And we have a lot of fun here. I am the nefarious brother Adam. Josh, you can follow me at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Pretty simple ordeal there. I want to say thank you all for just the amount of listenership we've been getting over the last couple of weeks, months, in between. I am very appreciative for that fact because there's a lot of wrestling podcasts out there to choose from, and the fact that you guys still care about what I have to say about wrestling, the fact that we're not a dirt sheet style show. I do appreciate that you guys still give a shit about what we talk about here on the Hoots Podcast. And I just want to say for the bottom of my heart, thank you for helping us get past the 1 million download mark that we did a couple of weeks ago, and where we are now. And it's just 2024 has been out to a good start. I really can't complain. I'm probably the happiest I've been in a very, very long time. I feel like I'm at peace with a lot of different things in my life right now. And just excited for... Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Getting phone calls during the middle of the show. It's just not the right time for that stuff. Sorry about that, guys. Forgive me. All right. So, as I was saying, if those are watching live, I put out the link on my Twitter page at the Hoots Podcast. If you want to join me live, I have a open door policy. I'm going to keep doing this until we get to episode 400. If anyone that comes here asks a question, you want to talk about something related with wrestling or life or whatever, I'm leaving it up to you guys. That's why I put it on my page on Twitter. The recording link is on my page, so check out the Hoots Podcast if you want to come and say hello. If you have a take that you want to give off, if you want to put somebody in their place, you can do that as well. And I just want to say again, thanks for rocking with me. On the podcast today, obviously, we'll get over what happened in St. Pete at the dump known as Tropicana Field at the Royal Rumble. A lot of different takes about whether the show was good enough for them or disappointing. I'll give you my thoughts in just a little bit with that. Talk about the road to WrestleMania. Before I pressed the record button today, I decided to write down a little match card for WrestleMania 40, kind of like inspired by the Mel Kiper draft mock. I guess I made a mock WrestleMania 40 match card, which I'll be revealing on the show today. I'm kind of a bigger picture wrestling fan or wrestling media member, if you will, and I'll show you my thoughts with that in this week in WWE. We got a pay-per-view to cover coming up on Sunday called Vengeance Day for NXT. I got to talk about that. For those who are wondering if I'm going to be spending a lot of time in this podcast talking about the stuff that's been going on with Vince McMahon, the answer is no. I felt that I spent the appropriate amount of time last week to give you my thoughts on the situation as a whole as it was happening. And just within myself, I don't think it's right for me in my jurisdiction to continue talking about something that doesn't deserve to have that much attention to it, because I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be sitting here and talk about Vince McMahon just so I could get more likes or subscribers or whatever. I said what I needed to say last week in regards to Vince McMahon. I don't agree with what's been going on. I'm more than elated with the fact that Nick Khan and everybody in TKO had the balls to kick him out and make him resign from the position. I just don't think there's anything else further I need to say about it that hasn't already been said. And two, I don't talk about things in wrestling just to get clicks and stuff. I know it's topical. I know a lot of people have been capitalizing on the Vince McMahon subject as far as getting clicks and numbers and money and like that, and more power to you. But for me, I feel like if I further speculate and further, just continue to go on and on about this topic, I think it's we're going to get into waters where we're starting to um, they're not putting the right spotlight on what the real issue is. And I have the immense amount of sensitivity to Janelle Grant as anybody else. So I'm not going to sit here and continue going and doing these soliloquies about Vince McMahon. I said what I needed to say, and I should leave it at that. So I hope you guys can understand where I'm coming from. But I'm not, if you're expecting me to come on here and do Vince McMahon talk, this is not the show for you. I said what I need to say, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay. Hope you guys can understand that. Anyways, if you guys want to check out the podcast, you can check out the audio version at Spotify. Make sure to follow us there. We appreciate it. If you want to check out the video versions of the podcast or any interviews that we do, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Make sure just type in the Hoots Podcast on Google. You can find it free of charge anywhere you get your podcast from. Spotify, what? Stitcher, what? Apple Podcasts, what? Anywhere, what? Also, for those who are watching on YouTube, come say hello, like this video, and subscribe. Ask me a question. Tell me what's on your mind. I'd love to see what you guys want to talk about. What do you guys want to talk about, as Cody Rhodes would say? So before I get into the Royal Rumble and everything, I wanted to just play a quick clip here. You guys know I like talking about mental health stuff and relationships, and here and there, and some things that get your mind thinking about different perspectives on situations. And I'm very big on talking about self-awareness and when it's the time to separate yourself from the situation. And it doesn't always have to be romantic or sexual. It could be a friend thing. It could be in general. There's a great podcast out there called Tonight's Conversations. It's a very quick clip, like 90 seconds long, that I wanted to play for you guys. I like using this time to begin the show to bring in some live conversation, because I think a lot of us are putting a blind eye to a lot of issues that are going on in the world today. And especially the biggest issue, at least in my opinion, is the lack of honest and real communication. And I want to give a shout out to the guys at Tonight's Conversation, because they put out good content. So let's play this clip. It's called "Is This How You Know It's Time to Leave a Relationship?"
Where we realize one or two things: there's either nothing more that I can do or nothing more that I'm willing to do. And that's a very small window, because on the other side of that window is just stand because I'm here, stand because I've been here, stand because I'm scared to be somewhere else, right? At the moment, there's nothing else you can do, or that you ain't gonna do nothing else, even if you could. You need to go ahead and start working on your exit plan. Yes. Now, leaving may not be immediate. We have to be realistic. Everybody not in situations where they can up and bounce as easy as it said, but you need to start planning your exit, whatever that means for you. If your exit requires establishing safety elsewhere, if it requires you stacking your finances up at the very moment, like that moment when you like, nah, I'm tapped. Because a lot of us realize that, and we try to push, we try to dig, like, bro, if you cannot show up in your relationship healthy and wholehearted, you need to leave. Even if it's you need to go, because it's gonna get to the point where you punishing the person across from you, because you're not even showing up in a healthy way. You showing up out of resentment. You showing up with a, you know what I'm saying? Like, so once you realize you in that space, like Kitty said, a stagnation, just go ahead and start working on your exit plan.
All right. Little piece of life advice out there for anybody that needs it. Make sure to sit back. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back in 30 seconds. I didn't want to waste too much time this week because we have a lot to go over. So when I come back, We'll get into what happened this week in WWE right here on episode 398 of the Hoots Podcast. Before I press this button, don't forget, if you want to be part of episode 400 or send us any audio shoutouts, make sure to send me a MP3 file to the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com, and I'll play those clips on the podcast for you guys when we do that on February 15th. So when we come back, let's review the Royal Rumble and everything in between in This Week in WWE right here on the Hoots Podcast. All right, folks, welcome back to the Hoots Podcast. By the way, make sure you drink as much water as you possibly can. Not only is it good for you, but it starts to make you look good as well. I'm not going to lie about that. Man. By the way, I was partaking in one of those core water bottles. Those are pretty good. Anyways, I would go on a little soliloquy about my progress as far as like my transformation project, if you will. You know, there's so many things about like, you're doing a weight loss thing, you're doing this. No, man, this is a complete life transformation for me. It's not just losing weight and stuff like that. But that stuff is going good. But anyway, we're talking about wrestling. For those who are watching live, like I said, I put out the link on my YouTube page at the Hoots Podcast. If you want to come in and ask me a question live and as we're doing this recording, if you want to shoot the shit with me while we're recording the show, press it, come say hello. Anybody's welcome at any time, and I appreciate the support for the podcast. So let's get into it. Royal Rumble this past Saturday night at Tropicana Field, complete dump. I think looking back at now in hindsight, I'm glad that we had virtual screens at the Thunderdome than what we had to sit through this past Saturday night in St. Petersburg, Florida. Somebody please turn that dump into a parking lot. And I know I overused that Major League 2 clip a lot, but it's true, man. It's a complete and utter dump. Turn that place into a parking lot. The acoustics are ass. Just the vibe of it is not great. You gotta give a lot of credit to the WWE production team for making that event look as presentable as it was on Saturday. Please do never have any wrestling shows at Tropicana Field. Don't even think about it, Tony Khan. Don't do it. Anyways, I had a lot of different thoughts. This was really a big deal for me. Like I mentioned on last week's episode, on the Rumble Day was the exact 10th year anniversary of me making play-by-play articles and transcripts. And technically, the Royal Rumble Day was my 10-year anniversary of being a wrestling media member. So Saturday was very cathartic for me for a lot of different reasons, and more positive than bad. When I think about this journey and the fact that it was the Rumble that night, it kind of brought things a lot into picture and a lot of things in full circle. I said plenty of times, the first night I did a wrestling article, CM Punk decided to leave the WWE the same day. Here we are. He comes back. He's in the Rumble match, and now he's out for 4 to 6 months. And I'll get you my thoughts on Punk's injury in a little bit because I'm still trying to process it still, and it's Thursday, and we heard this news on Monday. Having it being the Rumble, being that show for being my 10th anniversary as a wrestling media member, I'm very grateful, man. Those Royal Rumble shows are always a blast to cover. It's definitely one of my favorites to cover throughout the year. And I thought it was a good time, and I'm seeing a lot of the comments. I've watched a lot of the shows this week, and there's, I guess, maybe a lot of disappointment as far as how the show went, the match order of the show. I don't know if there's really as much complaints about the winners of the Rumble, but you know how it is with these wrestling Twitter marks. Nothing's ever good enough for them. And Bailey won the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes won it for the men. I thought it was a great aerial shot of the way the show's going off the air as Cody's pointing at Roman Reigns, who's sitting in the suite in Tropicana Field, and he's pointing him out, and you see him getting pissed, and he's like, "You're not getting anywhere close to this." And I liked how that all played out, and we can get into more details in just a couple of minutes. But overall, I think for me, I thought this was a very enjoyable show. A lot of these PLEs get straight to the point, which I do appreciate. I haven't got to the point since Triple H took over creative, I guess, that I feel like there's been these lulls during the shows where it's like, all right, can we get to the next interesting thing? Oh, the show's going too long. There's too many matches. I haven't had that feeling yet. And, since I've got my job back, I've been having a lot of fun being part of these PLEs and transcribing these matches. And there's been a lot of cool stuff, man. Not everything's a home run. You're not going to hit on every show. Sometimes I even heard Triple H say this before. If you don't have people hating you or knocking you, you're not doing anything right. I thought that was a very interesting quote and way to look at things because I agree with that to a certain extent. I believe that if you don't have people talking behind your back, if you don't have people looking down on you, if you don't have people that are jealous than you, I think that's true to a certain extent because you're having an impact on them. What you're doing is um, pulling something out of them because they can't live within their self, so they have to go after you and attack you for what you're doing and your accomplishments. So I thought that was a very prophetic saying, to be honest with you. Um, we only had 4 matches. There was a lot of speculation going through the show. So I guess maybe a lot of the disappointment goes back to what I mentioned here on the podcast before, where we allow fantasy booking to cloud our judgment in the way we process these shows. And, waiting for legends to pop out. Will Sasha Banks show up for the 5th time before a pay-per-view? Um, it's becoming a running bit now. Oh, major pay-per-view, major PLE. Oh, Sasha Banks. Oh, Mercedes Moné is going to show up at the show. She's not there. Oh, she's going to AEW. Oh, she's going to WWE. I mean, does it really make a difference at this point where she goes? Is that being too harsh? I mean, don't get me wrong. She's very talented, great to look at, a good person, all that in between. But if we're talking about dollars and cents, is it really making a major impact within the promotion that she's in? I mean, she was in New Japan before her injury, or fortunate injury that she suffered on that San Jose show. And it's like, okay, cool, you had your moment at Wrestle Kingdom, but nobody gives a shit. I gotta be honest. So yeah, Sasha Banks could come back, but what, is she still top 5, top 7 of the company as far as women are concerned? Okay, she goes to AEW. All right, she has a feud with Tony Storm. She has a feud with Deonna Purrazzo. Maybe she mixes it up with Britt Baker, and then what? Look, I gotta call it like I see it, man. So I guess a lot of disappointment for the Sasha crew that she didn't show up at the Rumble. That was what it was. I loved that Jordan Grace got to be a part of it. As far as TNA wrestling is concerned, looks like their relationship with WWE is getting better, so you can have more interaction with them. I would be down to see like a NXT versus TNA type of show. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if we're ever going to see Roman Reigns against Moose and, Seth Rollins against Eddie Edwards. But, yeah, if you want to do some stuff with NXT and TNA, you can sign me up. Seeing like, let's say, Steve Macklin against Ilya Dragunov, or uh, let's do, like, you can even do Moose and Trick Williams, or Moose and Braun Breaker, um, Tiffany Stratton against Jordan Grace, Roxanne Perez against Killer Kelly, who's probably the hottest chick in the history of wrestling. Gotta throw that out there as well. Um, you have a lot of scenarios. I just don't know if you're going to have like Randy Orton showing up at. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Don't expect Randy Orton to pop up at Slammiversary or Bound for Glory or anything like that. And good on Triple H saying it on the press conference scrum that the Forbidden Door concept is stupid, and he's not wrong. He's not telling lies. That is true. So that was that. From there, I wanted to mention some other things as far as the Rumble is concerned. Of course, it's great to see Liv Morgan back. She's been on TV for a while, so it's good to see her back. The women's Rumble, I think for me, probably had more juice of it, and obviously it had to do with match placement. It was the first thing that we saw. You had a lot of bigger moments, a lot of big returns and surprises in the women's than you did in the men's match. Um, Jade Cargill made her debut on Saturday night, and she's a Brinks truck waiting to happen. She is everything in between. If you want to, I'm not really like tied into like the whole X-Men culture. Like I have watched superhero movies and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not a nerd about it. I don't know all the details of what character is what. But if you built like a female X-Men character, that's Jade Cargill in a nutshell, and she looks phenomenal. She was in the right place, interacting with the right people at the right time. Um, I thought it was just really cool the way the crowd was reacting to her. So, like, obviously, she has a background for being in AEW, but for her to be in this environment and people seeing her for the first time as well, um, she is a walking billboard. She is everything of it. She is going to be a big time player. The way she eliminated Nia Jax, the face off and the timing to get into that spot with the face off with Bianca. Jade made it to the final three, even to the point where Liv Morgan eliminated Jade Cargill from the Rumble. I thought it was an interesting way they finished that match. You know, One of the earlier spots I thought was interesting earlier. Bianca Belair does the KOD to Jordan Grace on the apron. I thought that was a nice elimination. Nia Jax clean house. Becky Lynch. I wouldn't say I was disappointed in her performance, but I was expecting her to see a little bit more from her in the match. She didn't win, but that leaves the door open for her to possibly win the Elimination Chamber match, and I could totally see that happening. I threw out two scenarios. One of them last week I mentioned, hey, maybe you do Logan Paul's WrestleMania opponent as the winner via the Elimination Chamber. I don't think Gunther needs to win the Elimination Chamber match to fight Seth Rollins at WrestleMania for the World Championship. Now, Drew McIntyre would be a better fit. You put him, Sammy, Jey Uso, maybe Balor. You throw Balor in there. A couple other guys. Bronson Reed, obviously. I already got 5 there. And you could do it from there, Hell, put Kofi in there. So you got Drew, Sammy, Jay, Kofi, Bronson Reed, and you can have the Elimination Chamber match like that, and they have, maybe that's the way they do the number 1 contender spot for the World Championship. Okay, maybe Drew gets it that way, or you could do it on the SmackDown end. You do Bobby Lashley. You could put in Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight. etc., etc. And you can find whoever wins that match will get the opportunity to face Logan Paul for the U.S. Championship at WrestleMania. You can do it that way as well. There's a lot of different options in how you could go about that Elimination Chamber match. And I think it'd probably be a safe bet that Becky Lynch would win the women's chamber match. And that's how you could do Bianca. Not my bad. That's how you could do Rhea versus Becky at WrestleMania. You could do it like that. So a lot of different scenarios on that end. But overall, I thought the women's Rumbles match was very good. Um, Maybe it was the match of the night. If you want my opinion, at least from an entertainment standpoint, it was fantastic. Of course, I'd be remiss without mentioning that Naomi returned. Really cool moment. Seeing her get emotional the way she was before the bell ring. Her little standoff with Jordan Grace was cool. It wasn't falling on deaf ears. The crowds were actually into it at that spot. So props to all the ladies because that I'll be honest, that Rumble match flew under the radar in a lot of ways, and that one could have just fallen on deaf ears and people could have just shrugged their shoulders. But the women's Rumble match deserves a lot of credit, and a lot of credit goes to TJ Wilson and the other producers that helped that match be what it was. So shout out to the ladies. I thought they killed it on Saturday night. Well, here's the thing when it comes to the four-way match for the Universal Championship. I would have called the audible here. And not as far as who won the match, but when the match was placed. I think it would probably been a better decision to do Kevin Owens and Logan Paul before that four-way match because I don't know, it just felt different. And for the title that they've been pumping out with Roman Reigns and his records and how long he's been holding it, for it to be second on the show, I thought it was kind of a mistake. Especially coming off the heels of how hot that match was, and everybody was excited for Bayley, and definitely a well-deserved moment. She wins the Rumble match. Definitely can see her facing Io Sky for the women's title at WrestleMania. But you have that moment. I would not have put that second. Now, I understand it. There's been a lot of speculations going into that show this past Saturday. Will The Rock show up? Will The Rock win the Rumble? Will The Rock show up and confront Roman Reigns after the match is over? I understand why the four-way was not in the main event on Saturday, but I wouldn't have it as the second match of the show. I just wouldn't. But I do give credit to all four guys. I thought it was a good match. LA Knight had his spots, and they made him look as strong as they could. I know a lot of people were expecting him to take the pinfall there, but it was actually AJ Styles who took the pin. The Randy Orton sequence of RKOs was pretty nice. I hope he's all right because he looked like he was clenching his shoulder a lot during the match. And the last thing we need is more injuries going into WrestleMania season. So I hope Randy's okay. So that was that. And then you have Roman retaining. I know a lot of people are upset because Solo came on and they do the bit where they pull out the ref. And I get it. A lot of people don't like the way Roman Reigns matches are formulaic and repetitive, and I understand that. I saw it coming too, but I thought it was a nice twist where they put Solo through the barricade and Roman still found a way to win the match on his own accord. I mean, it's not that it doesn't make sense. It's a no disqualification match. Roman's a heel. No shit, he's gonna cheat. You know, that's been the funniest thing about the complaints about his title reign. Oh my God, Roman Reigns can't do anything without cheating. He's a heel. This is what you guys have always wanted. You wanted him to be the bad guy. Now he's being the bad guy, and still that's not enough. I'm not going to go into this whole diatribe about his schedule. You want to blame somebody, blame Vince McMahon for it. Well, you can't because he's not part of the company anymore. Thank God. I'm going to take a swig of water really quick. Oh man, can't go wrong with water. So I was saying, I thought all four guys did a good job. My only complaint was just I wouldn't have had it as a second match show. I would have had it as a semi-main event of the show. Yeah, maybe a lot of people would be expecting The Rock to come out, but no, um, I would not have it following the way that Women's Rumble match went. But speaking of the match that did follow this four-way, it was Kevin Owens and Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Logan Paul continues to impress me each time he comes out there in the ring. Uh, a clash of styles, if you will. And I thought it was good. I thought it was a good match. I liked the way the finish went with that match, and I thought it helped for both guys in their own way. Kevin didn't have to take a pin. Logan Paul is still improving. Um, I don't know how I feel about this whole spot with his entourage and stuff like that. That just got very awkward. And I know Pat McAfee is still trying to get his rust out of him since he's been back on commentary, but I don't know, man. That the way the match was going towards that direction, I wasn't crazy about that, but some really stiff shots from Kevin Owens. He was chopping the shit out of him during the match. I knew the match was going to be good. Say what you want about Logan Paul as a person and stuff like that, but I thought they meshed well in the ring with each other. The sequences were good. Um, you know, Logan's very impressive, man. He really is. He deserves a lot of credit for what he's been putting his body through. And, maybe we see him more on TV as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania. And I truly believe that. I think that'd be the case. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the show tomorrow and he's bragging it in everybody's face about how good he is and stuff like that. Do you get a rematch with Kevin and Logan at the Elimination Chamber? Maybe. You could do that. You could do that. But that's another story for another time. But overall, I like that match too. Let's talk about the men's Rumble match. I would not say this is one of the worst men's Rumble matches of all time. I would not say that. I would not say that. Um, I feel there was part of the match where I felt like the attention was not where it needed to be. Look, I love Pat McAfee. I'm a mark for the guy. I admire him. I look up to him as far as his no fucks given attitude and the way he approaches his business and stuff like that, and the hustle and grind that he put in to get to where he is today with ESPN and everything like that. I'm more than proud to say that I'm a Pat McAfee fan and supporter. I'm also a supporter of him being back doing full-time commentary on Raw now with Michael Cole. I think that's great. I think that's dope. I want to give shout out to my buddy Andrew Baydala who said this on his show this week. He was like, sooner or later Monday Night Raw will go back to being the A show. And I do agree with that. I really do. I think Monday Night Raw eventually will be the A show for WWE once they make that switch to Netflix. My only issue with what happened with Pat this weekend was the wasted spot in the Rumble. I didn't think that was necessary. But I guess I understood why they wanted to do it. It's not the first time he had a commentator participate in the Rumble match. That was the only part of the men's Rumble match that I really didn't care for. I mean, sure, if you want to complain about the fact that JD McDonough was basically a wasted spot, sure. But R-Truth played his role. The crowd popped for the hot tag. He's doing the John Cena sequence. He does the hot tag with Dominic. um, that was what it was. But I think this match was a victim of just how ridiculous that crowd was and the way that building was set up acoustically and audio wise. So a lot of people feel like maybe people are sitting their hands. And look, I was not at the show, so I can't tell you from a firsthand experience of what it was like atmosphere-wise. I wish I was there. Wish I was at these press events and scrums and stuff like that. And I will, when the time is right, I'll be at these things. But as I'm watching this and I'm watching the match, you can tell that it's just the ambience and the feel of the crowd during that match is just not there. Hell, even for the tepid pop that Punk got when he come out, I thought it was interesting. Again, please never have any wrestling show, or at least televised or PLEs at that dump, please. I probably would say the same thing about Camping World Stadium in Orlando, but that's another story for another time. The fact that they've done 2 WrestleManias there is interesting to me. Anyways, going back to the men's rumble, uh, seeing Andrade back was cool. I thought he was doing much better work with AEW towards the latter end of his run there. So it's nice to see him back. He's going to be on the Raw brand going forward. Um, you know, Carmelo Hayes had a nice showing. I thought it was nice to have Braun Breaker there. Here's my deal. Like I said, I thought the Pat McAfee spot was a waste of time. If it was up to me, and I think it would have been a nice little plug-in for Vengeance Day, which is coming up on Sunday, I would have had Ilya Dragunov in the Rumble match. I would. You get a little tension there with Gunther. Get that going. I think Dragunov would have been a nice entrant, and he could have done some real hard-hitting shit in that. And I thought that that would have been a better spot than what they did with Pat. But I don't want that to take away from what Braun Breaker did during the match because he looked fantastic. Braun was spearing the crap out of everybody, eliminated Jimmy Uso. I was kind of surprised that Jimmy didn't come back to cost Jade the match. Maybe they're saving that for the Elimination Chamber. I could totally see that happening. Um, but I thought Braun Breaker had a really, really good showing, and it's way past time for him to be part of the Raw or SmackDown brands, and I hope that happens sometime soon. But I'll say this: for Final 6 of the Rumble, where you have Punk, Cody, Gunther, Drew, Sammy was in there, I believe, and I forgot who the 6th person was. But you're talking about the creme of the creme there. You're talking about the Taj Mahal of superstars in a Rumble match at that time, and Gunther gets eliminated by Cody. A very, very, very cool way they did that elimination. Drew McIntyre, he's salute to Drew McIntyre, man. This man has really graduated from the Silky Johnson school of player hating. This guy is an absolute menace, and I'm here for it. So, Drew's talking smack. He's going to cost Punk the Rumble. Punk decides to throw him out. Before that, they do the Future Shock DDT. That's where Punk, fortunately, tore his tricep. I'll get to that in just a couple seconds. I know you guys been waiting to hear me talk about Punk's injury and stuff like that, but you know, I I really like the way the Final Four went at the Rumble, and I really like the way the finish happened. And much props to Punk for fighting through that shit when he had the injury and still able to finish off the match the way it did. Yes, I know the crowd wasn't on the edge of their seats or you're hearing a lot of noise on the network as you're watching the show on Saturday, but the way Cody and Punk ended the match, I thought it was very good, and I think that's probably was the original plan for those two to be the final two. And that's the thing, you have great options, and when you have that as the final two in the Rumble match, I don't see what the wrong is in that. You have Punk out there, you have Cody, and both are justified for the reasons of being a Rumble winner. And I was, even for me, transcribing the match live, like I'm in the moment as a fan too, and I'm feeling it, man. Oh, Punk does the GTS. I'm like, oh, Punk's gonna do it. Oh, Cody hits him with a crossroad. Oh, I think it's that moment. Punk does the pedigree, right? And he's like, can you believe I did this shit, right? And then Punk, he's like, I'm not here. I didn't wait 10 years to lose to Dusty's kid. Great spot. Great spot there with Punk and Cody before the end of that match. Um, this is just me. And I've been saying it for the last couple weeks. I do believe Cody Rhodes will finish his story at WrestleMania now. I really do. Does that mean down the road The Rock and Roman will have a match for the championship? Maybe. We'll see. But I do believe that Cody Rhodes will finish his story. The way the promo with Punk and Cody before the Rumble this past Monday on Raw, uh, the way the end of that match went, and I'm not losing to Dusty's kid. The promo with Steph this week, where he's trying to play a monkey wrench into everybody's idea of what's going to happen with Cody at WrestleMania. I believe one way or another, Cody will finish his story, and good on him for going back to back to win the Rumble. That's a big shoes to fill. You know, you're in some real high tier category there. Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, back to back Rumble winners. Now you have Cody Rhodes added to the list. And well deserved. He is the guy. He is the face of the company. He is this generation's John Cena. And rightfully so. And you could call it a predictable decision, you could call it a predictable outcome or a booking decision, whatever you want to call it. I think it was the right call, given everything that was going on before the event with Seth Rollins' injury. Now, even more added to that fact with CM Punk's injury, Cody was the right person at the right time. You get the great shot, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, with him and Roman going back and forth, talking shit to each other as the show's going off the air. Um, I thought it was the perfect way to end the show. And congratulations to Cody. Well deserved on that. And also congratulations go out to him, Bianca, and Rhea for being cover superstars in the video game for WWE 2K24 this year. So all in all, I thought for the most part the Rumble was very, very good. I have I don't really have much to complain about as far as that Rumble show went. I thought it was good. Again, just don't have any of these shows at that place because that place is a pier and other dump. So that was that. A couple of things I wanted to mention really quick from Raw. Love the match with Gunther and Kofi Kingston. Gunther having a good match is not surprising to anybody at this point. I thought DIY and Judgment Day killed it on Monday. Very good tag team match. I was kind of surprised there was not a title change. I thought that was going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and say it was a mistake. They probably have a reason why the Judgment Day retained, but I do believe sooner or later Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa will get their hands on those tag titles. So we'll have to see where that goes. One thing I've realized, over the years of being a wrestling media member or a wrestling content creator, is that within the business, especially somebody like myself who covers these shows and breaking down these matches and typing down these promos, I humbly speak, I feel like I'm more on top of where things are going storyline wise than most people because I'm putting in that time of typing down these promos and deciphering these matches and stuff like that. So I probably am more in tune with what's going on collectively with these storylines than anybody out there. And I think that's probably a good thing that we can bring to the table here on this podcast. And something I've learned over the years of doing stuff like this and shows like this and just in general is that nothing in professional wrestling is linear. I know a lot of people like to project things and like to live and die by these week to week episodes of Raw and SmackDown. Like, oh man, WrestleMania is doomed because CM Punk is out. And look, I'm bummed out. I am bummed out that CM Punk got injured and now he's not gonna be part of WrestleMania. That shit sucks. I'm not happy about it. It's not something that makes me happy. I'm disappointed as a CM Punk fan that I've been really hoping and praying that I could have the opportunity to be in Philadelphia this year for WrestleMania and cover the event. And no, my favorite wrestler will not be there, unfortunately. And it sucks, seeing him get emotional on Monday, cutting that awesome promo. He's giving the shout out to his buddy Chad and the firefighter Matt Flanagan. Look, man, I don't need a gazillion examples. It's to tell you how amazing of a person Phil Brooks is and how much respect I have for him as a human being. Um, it sucked, man. It really bummed me out to hear that news that he's gonna be out, and you can see the emotion in his eyes, man. Like you can see that he's happy and he's putting in the work and keeping his focus where his focus needs to be. And then you can see the smile on his face and seeing the prep and the training he was doing to get into the Rumble match, and just seeing him in a better place spiritually, and you can just feel the vibe off him that he's in a good place and he's ready to rock and roll going into WrestleMania season. Now he's not going to be a part of it. I felt that emotion for him. It got me choked up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie about it. It sucks. I didn't want to see it happen that way. Life can be unfair sometimes. Punk has had to deal with a lot of injuries recently, and maybe it is a little bit of bad luck. Maybe never in the cards for him to be the main event of WrestleMania. But hearing what he had to say is just another testament of why this man is my all-time favorite wrestler and why he's my hometown idol. He's a man. He's a man's man, and he stands on his business, and he stays true to what his character is. And I'm not talking about a wrestling gimmick. I'm talking about character as a human being. And it sucks that he got injured. I wouldn't say it broke my heart or anything like that, but it did bum me out. It did. I was very dejected for him personally because you can see in his eyes how happy he was to be there. And I genuinely believe him when he says that he didn't want to leave WWE. And this is the interesting thing about life, things just start looking up for you. You're back where you need to be. You think you're on the right track to doing something, and then a curveball is thrown in your direction. How are you going to go about it? How are you going to adapt to it? If anybody can adapt to shitty situations, it's Phil Brooks. And again, I've said it before countless times. One of my major goals has been with this podcast to do an interview with CM Punk in person, or just have him on the show in general. We got to make that happen. Folks, send this clip out to Punk and let him know that he should be a guest on the Hoots Podcast. I think we would have a lot of fun having Punk on this show. I'll just throw it out there. Why not? Gotta manifest shit these days. But I hope he has a quick recovery. And Drew is just getting ready to be sent to the gulags at this point, man. This guy is a pure and other menace. So that was that. That was my thoughts on the Punk injury. I got a little bit more on the Punk's injury stuff once we get into the later part of the show. I want to continue on here. The Seth Rollins promo with Cody, I thought was fantastic, man. You have your opinions about the World Heavyweight Championship. Call it a consolation prize. Call it the We Can't Beat Roman Reigns title. Throw in all the jokes you want. But I think that promo that Seth did with Cody has probably been one of the most beneficial things to that title during his entire reign, which is very ironic. Seth is telling Cody, hey, do you want to be the workhorse? Do you want to be what your father was? Or do you want to be like these pretenders, these frauds who politic their way into the spots that they're in and stuff like that? And here's the thing, man. Seth Rollins has been the workhorse champion of the WWE. But when you look at that promo on Monday, I think what he did with that promo with Cody, one way or another, obviously I think Cody will eventually go after Roman. I'm not naive to believe that there's a chance that would go in a different direction. But I think for the most part, I think that promo did a lot of value. It added a lot of value to that championship than any match that Seth has had during this title run. And I truly believe that. I think a lot of people take Seth Rollins for granted, especially on the microphone. I think that's some of the best stuff he's done in his entire career. And maybe that's hyperbole, but I'm just being honest. I think Seth Rollins deserves a lot of props this week for how he went about that promo with Cody this past Monday on Raw. I thought it was fantastic. So yeah, that was just some thoughts off the top of my head. Let me take a quick swig of water really quick. All right. Now, before I get to Vengeance Day coming up on Sunday, I wanted to mention really quick that we have something I want to share with you guys. So, I'm going to do this once a month as we get towards the road to WrestleMania and we get closer and closer to WrestleMania 40. I'm going to do this in inspiration of the Mel Kiper and Todd McShay style of mock drafts. We're going to be doing Joshie's mock WrestleMania cards. So this is volume 1. And I'm going to read it for you guys verbatim here. So what I decided to do is just go from it based off of observations of watching the shows, my bigger picture outlook on the industry, and just some general common sense decisions here. So you can take my word if you want, but this is, you can write this down so you guys can keep me accountable with this. But this is Joshie's Mach 1 of WrestleMania 40's match cards. So let's start this off. And we'll do it in the style of excrement just for shits and giggles, all right? Coming to you live from Lincoln Financial Field, it's WrestleMania 40. Here are your matches on night 1. First, for the WWE United States Championship, it's Logan Paul against L.A. Knight. From there, we have a grudge match featuring Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. From there, we have the Battle of Luchador Legends. It's Rey Mysterio taking on Santos Escobar. From there, we have the Kabuki Wars for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles online against the team of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. From there, we have Rhea Ripley putting her Women's World Championship on the line against the man, Becky Lynch. In the main event for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, it's Seth freaking Rollins against Drew McIntyre. Then we go into night 2 of WrestleMania 40. Here are your matches. First, for the Intercontinental Championship, it's Ring General Gunther against Chad Gable. Next, it's a 4-way match for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles. It's the champions DIY taking on Imperium, the New Day, and the Street Profits. From there, we have Io Sky put her WWE Women's Championship on the line against Bayley. From there, we have a no disqualification match pitting former members of the Judgment Day, Damian Priest against Finn Balor. And our Raw versus SmackDown match, AJ Styles against Sami Zayn. And the main event for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship, it's the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Woo! I was able to spew all of that out. I was able to fit all that in. I don't know how I did it, to be honest with you. So there you go. That is my first Volume 1 match card for WrestleMania 40. So verbatim, let's pull this back up here. We have Logan Paul, LA Knight, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, Kabuki Wars against Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley against Becky Lynch, and Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre for night 1. Night 2 goes like this: Gunther, Chad Gable, 4-way featuring DIY, Imperium, the New Day, and the Street Profits. Io Sky against Bayley, Damian Priest against Finn Balor in a no DQ match. AJ Styles against Sami Zayn, and Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. So those are my matches for Mach 1 of WrestleMania 40. Let me get your thoughts on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or in the comment section down below. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on it. Do you guys like what I just threw out there or not? Let me know. All right, let's continue on here. Last thing we'll do here for This Week in WWE, this very elongated version of This Week in WWE. We have a little preview for NXT Vengeance Day coming up this Sunday, live from the FM Bank Arena in Clarksville, Tennessee. Where the fuck is Clarksville? Is it like a suburb of Nashville or Memphis? I have no idea. Anyways, let's do this. Let's do this as the Excrement Impression as well, shall we? Here we go. Coming to you live this Sunday, it's another edition of NXT Vengeance Day from the FM Bank Arena in Clarksville, Tennessee. Here are your matches. First, the finals of the Men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It's the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Baker taking on Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. From there, we have Oma Femi putting his NXT North American Championship on the line against Dragon Lee. From there, we have a 6-person mixed tag team match featuring the family against Out the Mud. And we have a grudge match made official this past Tuesday night on NXT. It's Dijak against Joe Gacy. From there, we have the NXT Women's Championship match. It's the champion Lia Valkyria taking on Roxanne Perez. In our main event for the NXT Championship, it's the Mad Dragon Ilya Dragunov against Trick Williams. Make sure to check out NXT Live this Sunday, live on Peacock. Woo! Oh man, I'm about to have like a major headache later on from doing that impression. My God. Oh man. So those are the matches coming up on Sunday. This card is gonna be pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie. Lia Valkyrie against Roxanne Perez is gonna be dope. Dijak and Gacy, I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. The I mentioned Wolf Dogs and Trick Mellow Gang. That's gonna be a dope match for the Dusty Finals. In the main event too, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but Carmelo Hayes will turn on Trick Williams this Sunday in Clarksville, Tennessee, and that's how you start getting your match for Stand and Deliver. Trick Williams will have his back turned by Carmelo Hayes on Sunday. And we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to Vengeance Day. It's going to be a dope show. NXT's been putting on a lot of good content recently, and they deserve a lot of credit for the shows they've been putting on TV as of late. And it's been a lot of fun to transcribe on Tuesday nights. I'm not going to lie, I really enjoy those Tuesday nights getting to cover NXT each week. And it's a good time. So, all in all, in between, that is what happened this week in WWE. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a step back here. Get ready, folks, because we're about to go into an adventure unlike any other. And the adventure I'm talking about is something that we like to call a brand new restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Let's start this bad boy off in a 3, a 2, a 1.
Your meat. Beat 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 your meat.
I'm telling you, my time is right now. Right this minute, 2022. We're living in my time is now. My time is right goddamn now.
Man, what intensity.
The quality of the product and the quality of the shows is at an all-time high right now. But I do know that it's a real war between AEW and WWE.
I'm still cashing fat checks, and I am still banging the hottest bitch in this entire place.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
Beat your meat. Beat.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Let's take off the portrait here. We are back in live and living color. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time check out this segment, and you are an AEW fan that thinks they do absolutely nothing wrong, this may not be the segment for you. But don't fret, I don't think everything that they do is absolutely horrible. I do get credit where credit's due when it's justifiably so deserved. Look, guys, I want AEW to succeed, but we can't put a blind eye to this, man. This product is cold as shit. It's stale. It's lame. It's tepid. It has no energy to it. They're drawing next to nothing on these Dynamite tapings. I don't even know who attends these collision shows anymore. Like, I'm gonna be completely and 100% transparent with you guys. Like, and a lot of this probably does have to do with the fact that I don't get paid to cover these shows anymore, but I don't watch Collision anymore since CM Punk left AEW, and I don't watch Dynamite live anymore. It's not a priority for me. Wednesday nights I usually spend it with my person and my partner, and I leave it at that. And I just watch the shows. I'm not enjoying it. There's nothing on the product that's must see right now. And it's not even like, oh, Joshie, you're part of the tribalism game. No, it's not even about it. It's just the shows suck. It's unwatchable. And this is what happens when you lose the faith of your audience. And this is what happens when you act like your shit don't stink. I think it's still funny that the company is still calling themselves All Elite Wrestling when they offer bargain basement value of wrestling television. Or, it's like AEW is the Payless of professional wrestling shows. AEW Dynamite is the Dollar Tree of wrestling television shows. It's there. You access it. Great. Do I need it? Do I need to watch? Am I getting my money's worth? It's just bland. I don't even know what to say about the show last night. They were in New Orleans, and usually New Orleans are good crowds. What I saw last night was a waste of time. And I didn't even watch the show live. I skipped through a couple things here and there. I know the Bucks are still doing their one. I this kind of tone deaf, but it's AEW, so what's new with you? I'm surprised they're still letting the Bucks do this whole Vince McMahon shtick where they're trying to be serious EVPs and stuff like that. It's such a stupid gimmick, but it's the Young Bucks, so what else is new? You have that going on. You still got the lame ass commentary team with Excrement and Tony Schiavone. Like, I feel bad for Taz in a lot of ways because he carries the show most of the time. Literally, you're 5 years in this promotion. You would think you have more people interested with your show, but no, we have to be stuck with Excrement because he's friends with the Bucks. And oh my God, Excalibur called all these matches for PWG, these legendary classic 5-star wrestling matches. So we need him as the play-by-play guy in Excrement. We need him as the play-by-play guy for Dynamite. When you have Kelly on your payroll, you have Ian Riccaboni on your payroll, and Excalibur is the best that we can offer for this elite wrestling promotion that offers elite style wrestling. Is fucking Excrement and his stupid ass mask the best that we can offer as the play-by-play guy and your narrator that keeps you navigated during this show? That's the best that we can offer to the viewing audience is Excalibur and his magnificent mask. Woohoo! Again, shitty officiating. Aubrey Edwards, what else is new? Run-ins, dirty matches, tag matches that serve no purpose. Oh, we have Wardlow against Commander last night. What the hell is this? AEW Dark? What's going on here? Hangman Page had a match with Tola Leona. Physical, I think Tola Leona's a good physical wrestler, but he's obviously way more of a tag team guy than he is a singles. I know that they're doing this whole thing with Hangman and Swerve where they're going back and forth and they're trying to find their way to convince themselves that they're number one contenders for Samoa Joe. Honestly, I think probably for me, there's probably two things from Dynamite that I like the most. One was definitely Samoa Joe on commentary during the main event. Samoa Joe is great at everything he does, and it's glaring how bad the commentary is in AEW. When Samoa Joe goes into it, and yeah, he has experience doing it on Raw, but still, he was the best guy on the booth on Wednesday night. We're 5 years into this promotion, and Excalibur is all we can do for play-by-play. Get the hell out of here. And do we still need to justify to ourselves that Tony Schiavone should be calling wrestling matches in 2024? Come on, man. I watch this show every week, and it's a freaking waste of time. You see the Undisputed Kingdom. They're out there to support Wardlow. Adam Cole's on commentary. And I get it. MJF is on his hiatus, and he's recovering, and he's rehabbing, and he's spending time with his girlfriend and stuff like that. Great. More power to him. But can you make your faction that took him out of TV more interesting? This group is more flat than the core was when they first started. Yes, I said the core. CORRE. The core. That's how flat this Undisputed Kingdom thing is. And here's the most funny thing. This is the most typical AEW thing. We have this new group of people that we should be scared of. They just laid out probably your biggest star in your promotion, the guy who's the longest reigning AEW World Champion of all time. So what we do is we put him in matches that nobody gives a shit about on television. We have Roderick Strong fighting Orange Cassidy. And guess what? You have your new scary faction back away like chicken shits from Pockets, Rocky Romero, and the Cuckle Friends. What are we doing here? Oh, the Undisputed Kingdom's got to be scared of Orange Cassidy. Give me a freaking break, man. And you wonder why nobody takes their show seriously. Okay, Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy will have a good match, a good wrestling match at Revolution. Guess what? Water is wet. Why should I take that feud seriously? And then we have to enable Chris Jericho and his ego. Hey everybody, I'm back for the Jericho Cruise. I made myself look like a jackass once again in my own cruise. So let me get a bunch of time on television so we continue on this Don Callis family feud that nobody gives two shits about. So here comes Chris Jericho against Kyle Fletcher. Great. Decent match. Awesome. Must-see television. Elite wrestling, if you will. So Chris Jericho has a match with Kyle Fletcher. After that, we find out that Jericho's going to have a match with Kanose Takeshita. And you mean to tell me, with a straight face, that I'm going to have to sit and wait to see Chris Jericho and Don Callis in a one-on-one match? No. You know what's going to happen? Don Callis is going to bring in Will Ospreay once he's done with his New Japan dates. And we're going to have a rematch of Jericho and Ospreay at Revolution. And Ospreay will represent Don Callis once again. Why? I don't know. Why does Will Ospreay need Don Callis to be interesting in AEW? You tell me. Am I being too negative here? Am I showing my tribalism colors here? I'm paying attention. I'm following along with the storylines. I see this stuff come from a mile away. And this was the promotion that said they were going to be everything that WWE is not. We have all these conversations about, oh, AEW needs to split their rosters. It's not going to make a fucking difference because the same guy's booking the show. The same guy that appoints a guy from Fightful as part of the creative team. The guy that's still letting the boys run the program like it's a freaking asylum. So, great. Jericho and Ospreay, probably a good match. I've seen it already. Will Ospreay does not need Don fucking Phallus to be interesting on your show. Then we go to the back. We have Ricky Starks and Big Bill doing an interview with Schiavone with Sting and Darby Allin. They're all fighting each other. Tag team title match coming up soon. You know, we're getting closer and closer to Sting's retirement. And everything that's been going on with Sting, I don't really have a problem with it. Do Sting and Darby need the tag team titles to necessitate Sting having this final match? I don't know. I don't think so. But, you know, it makes sense. Ricky was the first person that fought with Sting when he came to AEW, so it's kind of a full circle thing. I like that stuff. I thought the segment that they did was good last night with those guys, and I thought it was interesting, and they all said what they needed to say. But at the same time, it's like Sting should not be the only good thing that you have going on your this is the flagship show. It's not even Collision. And I want to apologize to the guys from the House of Black and FTR and Daniel Garcia. I haven't had a chance to watch Collision this past Saturday because I was busy covering the Rumble. But even then, I'm not enticed to watch Collision because we have to hear Tony on play-by-play when you got Kevin fucking Kelly on your freaking payroll. It's bad enough you're rating enough of the New Japan freaking roster to the point where you're going to justify Tony Khan yourself of, oh, you're going to be the new owner of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm sure that's going to happen soon. This great company, this great tradition in history, going down the flames to inflate the ego of the Wrestling Observer subscriber since he is fucking 12 years old. Oh man, I can't wait for the freaking Observer Awards to come out. And this cross-eyed halfwit wins the Booker of the Year award. Shows you once again how much lack of credibility Dave Meltzer spews out of his mouth, and Brian Alvarez as well, because he's not excluded from this. Watch that product for the last couple months without Swerve Strickland or MJF, and you tell me how that freaking clown is a Booker of the Year. And I don't even talk about booking on this show. Let's do the Excrement Impression and get the hell out of here. Oh, wait. I forgot something. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Tony Khan has an announcement next week. Woohoo! TK has another announcement. Guess what? Water is wet. I wonder what it is this time. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mercedes Moné. It's Okada. Oh my God, AEW's going to do a show at Wrigley Field. I think it'd be cool to have a wrestling show at Wrigley Field. I'm going to calm down a little bit on that. But, I mean, okay, Tony Khan's going to have another announcement. Is it going to mean anything? Is it going to make Dynamite more must-see? Is this going to be the announcement that they signed a new 5-year deal with Warner and Warner Discovery and they're going to have the streaming thing on Max? Is that the announcement? Is any of these announcements going to mean anything? Like the 20 other announcements that he's done since his promotion's been a thing. Oh my God. AEW starting to lose momentum within the discussions of the wrestling Twitterverse and the wrestling realm. People are losing attention to AEW. You know what we do? Case of emergency, break glass. Guess what? Tony Khan has an announcement next week on Dynamite. Tell me what I'm supposed to do with that. Tell me why I should give a fuck at this point. Let's do the Excrement Impression and let's move on here. Okay. Let's do this. Coming to you live tomorrow night on TNT. It's another edition of AEW Rampage. Your matches first. We'll hear for the international champion Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. Right there, we have an 8-man tag team match featuring CLAHN, Shandy Magic, Matt Sydal, and Christopher Daniels taking on the team Evaldo Jr., Hechiro, Masquerade Dorada, and Mystico. Right there, we have women's action as Willow Nightingale takes on Queen Aminata. From there, we have the AEW World Tag Team Champions as Ricky Starks and Big Bill takes on the Dark Order. From there, we have the main event, which features Top Flight against Private Party. Make sure you get all your matches for Collision. Make sure to follow Tony Khan on Twitter at Tony Khan and get all your AEW tickets right now at AEWTIX.com. Repeat, that's AEWTIX.com. And this is the last thing I'm going to say for this segment this week. You could split the rosters. You could bring in Okada. You could bring in Mercedes Moné. You could bring in anybody and their mother. It's AEW. Things are not going to change unless there's a collective revamp of that creative team and somebody removing that freaking pencil away from Tony Khan. And that, my friends, is what the hell's wrong with AEW this week. Wait, wrong clip here. Ladies and gentlemen, again, that is what the hell's wrong with AEW this week.
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Dynamite was so bland to me last night that I forgot that Swerve Strickland and RVD was the main event of the show. Goes to tell you how much that show means next to nothing to me at this point. No knock on Swerve. I mean, RVD looked great last night. He can still go. It's always a little corny when I see Rusty fans are like, "Oh my God, are you still got it?" I didn't know RVD lost it, but that's one thing I forgot to mention on the good side. Yes, I like the match with Swerve Strickland and Rob Van Dam. But again, we watch Dynamite each and every single week, hoping if we have some identity soon, and it's just a stale, dirt sheet vanity project. And that's what AEW is. On that note, we got one more segment to do before we get to our main event of this week's podcast. And it's something that I like to call the CLAHN of the Week.
I'm not CLAHN. You're big CLAHN.
One more time for good measure.
I'm not CLAHN. You're big CLAHN.
Did you see this nonsense with Andrew Tate this week? I don't even know if I should play this. But we all are coming off the heels of this whole thing with Vince McMahon and, him with his allegations. Sean Laurinaitis is now coming out with attorneys saying that the truth will come out, and this whole thing with Vince McMahon, this just seems that won't go away. But this freaking cross-eyed half-wit, Andrew Tate, goes on this, "Oh, look at me, I'm an alpha male" nonsense, his stupid show, and he's like trying to make excuses for Vince McMahon and the legitimacy of the allegations that are levied against him. Andrew Tate, you are nothing more than a pure and utter clown. That's all I have to say about that. For you to cosplay yourself as a fucking alpha male and you have a bunch of sheep and sycophants leech onto your shit and believe everything that comes out of your mouth, that's a reflection on them than it is on you. Yeah, you were able to capitalize on money from people who don't have half a fucking brain and have the ability to have some self-awareness. So congratulations, man. You convinced an entire not entire, but a small spectrum of insecure men to follow along with your blueprint in the way you view life, and you try to justify him not being guilty in this situation and question the severity of this situation just so you could prop up your propaganda of red pill this, alpha male this, and all this stuff in between. Andrew Tate, you could go fuck yourself as far as I'm concerned. Andrew Tate, you, my friend, are the clown of the week. And also, all you twats on Twitter this week, they're going and doing celebrations over the fact that CM Punk tore his triceps this week. You too are clowns of the week. When we come back, we'll get to our main event segment. We got one more segment to do here on the podcast this week, and it's called the Back Porch Q&A session. We'll do it right here on the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, one more segment to do here in the podcast this week. It's time to talk about the Back Porch Q&A session. As always, if you guys want to participate, all you have to do is hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast or send us an email at thehootspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to participate in episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast, all you have to do is send me a audio file. Make sure it's in MP3 format, and you can direct those to me at the hootspodcast@gmail.com. Pretty simple ordeal, and it's pretty simple. Literally, you can type in the Hoots Podcast, and you can check out the shows. You can follow it from there, and any support is appreciated. So if you want to be part of episode 400 and can't be part of the live recording with me, send me those audio shout-outs, and I will play those when we do that episode. But let's get to the questions this week. I want to give a shout out to my Theo Jose, who just liked the stream here on Facebook. This is kind of the cool thing about StreamYard. You could stream your shows live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all these different places. So shout out to my Theo Jose. He's the man. I just wanted to give him a shout out really quick. I also wanted to mention as well, we just reached over 500 subscribers on YouTube as well. So I just wanted to say that's pretty cool as well. Get that crap out of the chat box, man. Get that crap out of there, man. That's colder than Impact, man. AEW, please. Oh, man. I got questions this week from Chris and Sam, my buddy Sam Piopo at Second City Sam. If you guys have any questions for me during this segment here, you could drop it here in the chat box, and we'll get into it. Let's start off with the good brother Chris Zaletta at XTZaletta24X. Throw out the X for him on Twitter. It says, what up, Oos? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Do you think there'll be 6-man belts in WWE? Hope not. I don't think it's necessary, and they don't have enough group to necessarily validate that being the division in the first place. So, no, I'm not into trios matches in wrestling, and they don't need it in WWE. So, no. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. What do you think of the image of Lid, Jade, Stratton, and Belair after the match? That was a nice shot. I know they implemented this new guy, Lee Fitting from ESPN, who replaced Kevin Dunn on the production side of the company. And, they got the new graphics when they transition from when they go into commercial break and stuff like that. I think that's been cool. Nice little different wrinkles with the production so far that I've been noticing. But, it's just like that. The agony of defeat. You saw that image there, but you also saw the image of Punk looking up at Cody after he lost the Rumble match. So I thought it was a nice shot. I really did. Which match are you looking forward to the most for Vengeance Day? From a transcription point of view, for me, it's the Wolf Dogs against Trick and Mello. I think that match is going to be awesome. But also, I would throw in Lyra and Roxanne. I think they'll put on a really good match as well. But I think for me, from a storyline standpoint, it'll definitely be Dragunov and Trick Williams, which is the main event of the show. But that's a good question. Do you think there'll be any free agents attending NXT Vengeance Day? That's a good question. You know what, Chris? I'm going to say yes. I believe that Camille, who's the former NWA Women's Champion, will be at ringside. I think Camille will be part of Vengeance Day. That'll be my guess. Either her or someone that we haven't heard yet in a while. My Theo here put a question here. He says, you think CM Punk is a work or is he really hurt? I don't know the extent of it because it's been mostly Alvarez and Meltzer saying, and everything they say I take with a grain of salt. But I feel like I think it's more legitimate than it is a work. Could it be something where Punk comes back after WrestleMania? Sure, but they said he's going to be out for 4 to 6 months. So I believe that the injury is legitimate. Just seeing the way he was crying and how emotional he got on Monday, yeah, he's going to be out for a while, which it just sucks. I'm not going to lie. It sucks. Never want to see my favorite wrestler go away from an injury like that, but it's something to be on the lookout for. You got to look at his age, the amount of attrition he's been going through over the last couple of years and stuff like that. The guy can't catch a break. Just sucks, you know? That's a good question, though. Thank you, Theo, for that. Next one here, Chris says, who do you think should be Seth's opponent between these two? Drew or Gunther, winner takes all? That's a good one. Look, you're not going to be in a lose-lose situation where you have Drew and the way he's been as a heel right now and how really good he's been on TV over the last couple of months. Him and Seth will put on a really good match at WrestleMania. But also, you can't go wrong with Seth and Gunther in a winner-takes-all match. If it's something where Gunther is that dominant where Seth Rollins has to take time off of TV as well, you can do that as well, Chris. I generally don't believe that there's a wrong answer in this scenario that you brought up here. So it's like 50-50 for me. I don't have a preference as far as who fights Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. But if you had to ask me right now, I think it'll be Drew McIntyre. That'll be my best guess. By the way, I still have this mask that my Dio Jose got for me. We went to go visit my Wello. He works at a flea market in Chicago, Swaparama, which is kind of close where the Sox play on the south side. This is a pretty cool mask, right? See this here? Hold up. There you go. I got it right here. You got the Aztec sign in the back. Man, we got this a couple of months ago, actually. It's crazy how fast time goes. And let me see if it still fits really quick. Hold on. I'm going to put... This is live in living color, so you guys got to see the video version of this. All right. All right. Got it going here. Got this monstrosity of a beer going. I don't know if I should have done this. All right, how about that? There you go. Hi, everybody. El Gordo. El Gordito. Oh, man. Mamma mia. What did I get myself into? I'm just going to answer the rest of these questions wearing this mask on, okay? I mean, if people could take Excalibur seriously calling wrestling matches on TV with a mask, I guess you guys could take me serious answering questions here with a mask on the podcast. So, all right, let's continue on here. Thoughts on the Bears hiring Thomas Brown? I don't know much about him, Chris, to be honest with you. The Bears are kind of a lose situation here. They are an accident waiting to happen. When it comes to the Bears, what could go wrong will go wrong. So I know that they brought in Shea Waldron. A lot of people have been complimenting the tremendous. Yeah, so I know a lot of people have been complimenting the new hires that the Bears have got on the coaching staff recently, but it's the Bears. I can't pinpoint and say, okay, now the Bears are going to be a good football team. I can't say that with a straight face, even with this mask on, you know. So let's see how that goes. Thoughts on Jordan Grace's appearance and performance in the Rumble? That's a good question. I thought she looked really good. I would not be surprised if she gets signed by WWE in a couple years. That's all I'll say about that. Do you think we'll see some crossover with the women between TNA and WWE? Yes, I believe we will. Sooner or later, I think we will. All right, I gotta take this off. Oh man. You know, if you asked Joshie of 7 months ago if I had that mask on and still was rocking this beard, I'd probably tell you both no. But your boy's making progress, and I'm starting to get comfortable in trying to enjoy this look with this beard on. So don't mind me, okay? Thank you, Chris, for the questions this week. I appreciate you, brother, as always. Last set of questions here. We come from the good brother Sam Piopo at Second City Sam on Twitter. He says, "What up, Oos? I'm doing good, my man. Hope you're doing well. Do you think Brock Lesnar will ever step foot in a WWE ring again?" At this moment, I'm going to say no. A lot more information needs to come out with the situation with him and Vince and John Laurinaitis. Oh, John Laurinaitis, I'm still a piece of shit. Brock Lesnar, I probably not. Given his age and the severity of this situation, I just don't see it happening. Could it be something where he accepts a Hall of Fame nomination? Maybe, but yeah, it's probably a better decision for them to distance himself from Brock Lesnar in that whole situation. That's just a rabbit hole we don't need to get into right now. And honestly, like, what else Brock needs to do in the WWE ring at this point? Unless it's a match with Gunther, I mean, I have no need to see Brock Lesnar back in the ring. And the fact that all this stuff's going on with this situation is just embarrassing, to be honest with you. If you were, oh, this is a good one. If you were in a room with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, what's the first thing you would tell them? All right. Before I answer this question, I'm going to do this really quick. Sorry for the dead audio here, but I'm just doing a quick prayer to God before I utter out what I need to say here. The first thing I would say to both Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez is that, are you comfortable going to bed looking yourself in the mirror? Would you be comfortable looking back at yourself in the mirror while this is going on? I have next to zero respect for either of these asshats. I don't care what Dave Meltzer thinks. I don't care about what Brian Alvarez thinks. I don't care what they have to say. They are an absolute embarrassment to the media profession, if you know what I mean. They are cancers to the wrestling space. They're cancers to the wrestling environment. The fact that they hoodwinked wrestling fans for the last 25 years to buy into their way of talking about professional wrestling and analyzing it is just a complete and utter joke at this point. And I have no respect for them. So there's a plethora of things that I would say if I were in the same room as Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. Are you happy with the Bears coaching hires? That's a good question. I am, Sam. I'm hearing good things, but you know this as well as I do. It's the Bears. What could go wrong will go wrong. Let's continue on here. Next question. We got here for Sabby says, what's your way too early White Sox prediction heading into spring training? I think the White Sox will probably miss the playoffs again. They still have a good team. They did next to nothing in free agency. It's a rebuild, so I think the White Sox are probably going to lose 90 to 100 games this year. That's my guess. So that's my prediction for the White Sox this year. Are you like me when it comes to the Fields and Williams talk? Tires of hearing about it? Yes, and yes. I'm done with the debates. The fact that all these on-air hosts are getting in pissing contests and dick measuring contests on their shows and getting defensive because the fans are calling out the on-air hosts of both stations for their biases towards one player and the other. It's an embarrassment, to be honest with you, but it comes with the territory of being a Bears fan. We don't know anything about what a franchise quarterback looks like. We don't know what a franchise quarterback development would look like if it slapped us in the face. Chicago sports media and Chicago sports fans in general are the last person to discuss quarterback play, and that's a shoot. And I'm just being completely and 100% transparent with you guys when it comes with that. Nobody in this city knows what good quarterback play looks like. They don't. All right. If Cody wins the title at WrestleMania, do you think the fans will start to turn on him as a babyface? Yes. Yes. Not immediately, but give it 5 to 6 months, they'll start booing him. Because you finish the story, and then what? I don't want it to happen, but we live in the fickle universe. So it would not surprise me that the fans, the fickle universe, would turn their back on Cody Rhodes. And it just wouldn't surprise me. It just wouldn't. Would you like to see John Cena do anything at this year's WrestleMania? Yes, I would like to see him have a match with Randy Orton. I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be my pick. When do you think Priest cashes in? He's been one of the longest holders of the briefcase in recent history. I think Priest will cash in his briefcase soon, Sam, but I don't think he's going to be successful. That's my prediction. I don't think Priest is going to have successful cash in. Something's going to happen with the Judgment Day where they cost him the briefcase, and that's how you can do Priest and Balor at WrestleMania as a one-on-one match. How about this one? Would I ever consider attending the Jericho Cruise? Would Joshie ever attend the Jericho Cruise? You know what, Sam? If I went with Lauren, I would. If it was just on my own accord, no. But I would, because she's a big fan of Chris Jericho. I would go just for the experience with her. But if it was on my own accord, I probably wouldn't unless I was working for a wrestling company that was part of the Jericho Cruise and stuff like that. Then I would go just for work purposes. But if it's just strictly on my own accord, no, I would not go. Let's see what the next one is here. All right, I got it. Last question for the Q&A this week. This is a great question, man. It's one of the best ones we got in a while. Where do you find your motivation to keep pumping out shows, transcripts, and etc.? My motivation has been with me since the day I was born. And understanding that I wake up every day grateful for the fact that I'm not permanently deaf. I'm grateful that I overcame some mental challenges and made sure that I didn't have to go through my entire school experience taking special ed classes. And I have a lot of sensitivity to people who have struggled with those issues like autism and stuff like that. My motivation has been rooted in so many different ways that I can't pinpoint just one particular reason why I go about the business the way I do. My motivation has started when I was a kid, when I first started watching wrestling. And there's been two things that I've always wanted to do in my life: either be a traveling musician or call wrestling matches like Jim Ross. And those are two things I've always wanted to do in my life. And being, having guys like CM Punk and Michael Jordan, especially, definitely Michael Jordan, is my biggest influence when it comes to motivation and competition and drive that I have, and not taking no for an answer, and not, giving a shit who likes me or not, stuff like that, and being so ambitious for something that nobody can outwork you. Like, I get a lot of that from Michael Jordan. And I think I give a lot of credit to my family in the way I was raised, but I also give a lot of credit to God, um, the way to keep me grounded, the way I'm consistent when it comes to popping out like transcripts, and when it comes to this podcast as well. It's something that I've attained, a lot of my own accord, but a lot of it has to do with God as well. And my motivation is to be undeniable. My motivation is not to put myself in a position where somebody tells me no, or I'm not good enough for something, or I can't do something. Excuse me. That's where my motivation comes in. That's where my motivation drives me, and knowing that I can do whatever I want in this field, and I can be successful with whatever I want to do in this field. And that my motivation is in a lot of ways proving a lot of people wrong. My motivation is to make sure that I'm so undeniable and good at my craft that people say that Joshie was the Michael Jordan of this, Joshie was the Michael Jordan of that. That's my motivation. My motivation is also to help people. My motivation has a lot of different levels to it. It's not just a one particular thing. It's not directed towards one person. It's not 100% collectively based on spite. My way and my motor and the way my work ethic goes is that I'm letting my work, my words, and my actions dictate what my success will be going forward. And that I am driven by the people who have doubted me, driven by the people who try to put a ceiling over me, and driven by people who try to put me in a box, because I'm not like everybody. I'm unique. I am. I'm driven differently. I'm wired differently than other people. Um, my motivation in the way I go about my business is to be so fucking undeniable that people tell me that I can't do something. I'm not going to be put in that position anymore. And I'm damn proud of the stuff that I've been able to accomplish within this field. I'm proud of the stuff that I've been able to accomplish with this show. I'm proud of the stuff I've been able to accomplish with my transcripts. And I'm definitely fucking proud of the motivations I've had to continue to reimagine myself as a man, and how I want to go with the rest of my life as I enter the next chapter of my life. So my motivation, Sam, is ever growing. There's never a point for me where I'm not motivated by something. Um, Now, I don't go as extreme as Michael Jordan in coming up with reasons to be motivated or having to make up something to prove something to somebody. It's not that deep for me. But my motivation is to be undeniable. That's what it is. Undeniable with having how good this podcast is, being undeniable with being the best wrestling transcriber in the industry, and being undeniable as being a good fucking man. And that's what drives me. So thank you for that question, my brother. Thank you so much. On the note, we're going to put a ribbon on the bow of this week's episode of the Hoots Podcast. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hope you guys enjoy Vengeance Day. I'll be transcribing the show on Sunday for WrestlingHeadlines.com, so go check out that transcript. Make sure to like this video on YouTube and subscribe to our channel as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 500 right now. I appreciate the support. Make sure to tell your friends about the Hoots Podcast and where you get your podcast from. If you want to advertise with the Hoots Podcast, all you have to do is hit us up at Twitter at thehootspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to be part of episode 400 of the Hoots Podcast, all you have to do is send us the MP3 file to thehootspodcast@gmail.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Josh Lopez Music. Make sure to follow the show on Spotify. And let me know what you guys think about the podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, be the authentic product that is yourself. Remember, nobody, and I mean nobody, dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. This has been episode 398 of the Hoots Podcast. 2 more weeks. February 15th, episode 400. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. I love y'all. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll talk to y'all next week. Right here on the Hoots Podcast. Yeet.